Welcome. Did you know that you can easily ascend from victim to creator? Well, today I want to teach you the boundary dissolution secret. So let me ask you, are you stuck feeling powerless, anxious, like life is happening to you, right? Did you ever have that feeling? Well, you are trapped in victim consciousness if that is happening. And the gift of knowing that you're trapped in victim consciousness is that it has rigid little boundaries. And today, right now, I'm going to show you how to dissolve those boundaries. Imagine that. Imagine dissolving that which is keeping you rigid and fixed in this victim consciousness, because victim consciousness keeps you stuck in density and separation. And that's important to understand that victim consciousness itself. In this video, I will share with you three proven keys. And I mean, these are proven that will help end this victim mentality and ascend you into the higher realms. And I have had 22 years of spiritual wisdom flowing through me to be able to share this with you. And I know that it works. So let's get started because together we are expanding consciousness. And I am Kira. Welcome. Welcome to a powerful moment, a moment where you're ready to take charge, a moment where you're ready to say, enough. Enough with being a victim. Because what happens is that when we dive into victim consciousness, which is frequently our only option because we live in a worldly experience where the planetary thought body is based upon the seeds of fear. Now, we started talking about this last week, and I really hope that you tuned into last week's show about the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening and that you've also jumped over to iamkira.net. And if not, I invite you to do both of those things, including leave me comments. Let me know what you're feeling. Are you dealing with victim consciousness? Have you noticed it in your life? How is it affecting you? And make sure you subscribe to this channel and share it with everyone you know, because my heart would be so grateful. So let's keep going, right? So let's look at a visual. So the visual that you're looking at right now is essentially a triangle. And what does it say? It says victim, rescuer, abuser. Now this is really important because remember from the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, we're all born into density consciousness. And density consciousness is me focused. Well, me focused energy is the type of energy that has a need to blame, it has a need to shame, it has a need to do whatever it can to protect itself because it is the most aware, whether consciously or unconsciously, but it is the most aware of this planetary thought body that is spinning in fear, 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 fear. And remember, what are the seeds of self sabotage? Well, as you see right there, in this graphic, let me pop it up for you again. As you're looking right here, what are you noticing? You're noticing the same thing. Those seeds of self sabotage that spin inside of the victim triangle. And what are they? Fear, doubt, and hesitancy. You ever think to yourself, it's too good to be true? Never going to have it all. It's impossible. I'm never going to have my dreams fulfilled. Everybody keeps telling you you can't have it all. Tamp it down. You know what? Live your dream. Be yourself. Trust you. Begin with the safe practice. And if you don't know what that is, please go listen to the 4-part journey that we posted a month ago. The safe practice simply says that you love yourself enough to stop, acknowledge, feel, and emerge. To emerge through, to know that if you are at a moment where there are people that feel like they are abusing you in any way, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, in any way, or if you feel that you are doing that to others, in any of those aspects, if you feel like you are a victim, if you feel like things are just happening to you, why are bad things constantly happening? That type of thing, victim consciousness. If you're looking outside and you're blaming, whether there is legitimate cause, remember that your evolution, your ascension does not negate the ramifications of others. Your ascension frees you. And that's what I'm talking about. this is that moment of dissolving, of really dissolving the boundaries of that rigidness that have that strict. A victim will always need two other components. You cannot be a victim unless you A, have an abuser, and B, have a rescuer. Victim, abuser, rescuer. Sustained by the field of self sabotage that continually feeds and takes us away, that gives us fear and doubt and hesitancy. So, how do we move through that? How do we really dissolve that? What is boundary dissolution anyway? I mean, what does this even mean? And where are we going? Well, imagine that while you are living in this body of form right now, as we have been talking about, and I really encourage you to go back and listen to last week's episode and learn about the pyramid of spiritual awakening and leave me comments and ask me your questions. I respond to every single one that comes in personally. I am reading your comments and they matter. They really matter, just like you matter. And so, what's important is to know that the mystical concept, let's call it that way, the mystical construct of where the you ends, right? Where this you ends and the everything else begins. That's the boundary dissolution. It's becoming aware of what you were not even aware of. It's opening up and smiling at yourself. It's that deep moment of self forgiveness. And I want to give you a gift today. I want you to go to my website, iamkira.net. I want you to scroll there on that homepage and get and do and use the 7-day forgiveness practice. It is an extraordinary journey. It is my free gift to you. And I can absolutely assure you that if you give yourself the gift of this practice, you will find a sense of practical freedom on the other side that will absolutely give you the recognition, the freedom to say yes to you, the freedom to love yourself more, the freedom to say yes. Because through that recognition, through that sense of realizing, wait a minute, everything that's happening in my life, I'm the common denominator. And to see the joy in that. How do we break free from victim consciousness? How do we break free out of needing rescuers and needing abusers? How do we step into that gift of presence, that gift of wholeness by loving ourselves enough to say enough. Enough with being a victim. I am beyond victimhood. Enough with needing a rescuer. There is no rescuer. This is an important thing to talk about. And I want to talk about this in a moment because through this dissolution practice, the way that we let go, the way that we're losing, we're saying enough of these boundaries. I'm tired of being trapped in victim consciousness, right? So, how we dissolve that, how we let go of that is to really go within, to go within with the gift of knowing that you are the one you have waited for. There is no need for a rescuer. This is why we live in a potentiality with dogmatic traditions based upon the need to be rescued, based upon the limiting belief that you don't deserve or you're not good enough or that there's no way you can. Thereby, you are the eternal victim. Thereby you are born being a victim. Thereby, you needed a rescuer. So belief systems come forward saying you must be rescued because you yourself are flawed. Thereby, through you being a victim and being rescued, abusers show up. Because this is a three-legged stool. You cannot sit on a two-legged stool. Victim, abuser, rescuer. Dissolve in the face of knowing who you are. They just dissolve. And how do they dissolve? When you step into the moment of presence, when you step into that recognition that fear and doubt and hesitancy are just an illusion, that you are the creator, that you have the capacity. This is the moment where we begin our dissolution, where we move forward, where we go into the essence and the energy of the transformation itself. Well, we remember that we are emerging. When we know that with every breath we are transforming, your body is different than it was yesterday. Your hair is going to grow or not. Your nails are going to grow or not. You are constantly transforming. You're out in the sun, your skin might change color, whatever. You are constantly transforming. So imagine freeing yourself. I mean, breaking those chains, because you're capable of doing that. You are. How do you do that? How do you break the chains that are binding you, that are trapping you in this victim, abuser, rescuer consciousness? You relax into self trust. You do that forgiveness practice that's waiting for you at iamkira.net, and you discover that you can transform the victim, the abuser, and the rescuer into teacher, the mentor, and the healer. We are all teaching each other all the time. Consider the fact that with victim consciousness, how often are you playing all three roles with yourself? How often are you your own abuser? How often do you become your own rescuer? How often are you the victim? Look at that self imposed cycle and then make that conscious choice, right? That's how we grow awareness, experience, and choice. So imagine being aware. Wait a minute, I'm not a victim. Wait a minute. Whatever is trying to hold me back is simply the power of the illusion asking me, inviting me to step forward as the creator, to step forward as the commander of the ship, to say yes to my life, to say yes to having it all, because it is possible. You just have to say yes and then take every action through the gifted presence of the teacher and the healer and the mentor, beginning with the self. Be your own teacher inside of you. This is why I kind of put up there again. Those of you that know me know this is my mustard seed. I wear this little mustard seed. And this little mustard seed reminds me all the time that everything we need is right there. We're all teachers. Teach thyself first. And how do you know that you're on the right track? How do you know to trust what you're doing? How do you know that everything you're moving forward with is really on track? You know that because it brings you the gift of inner peace. You teach yourself through following the joy of the inner peace. This is not emotional joy. This is not transient joy. This is an arrival. This is a re-hyphen cognition. This is a knowing. It is an inner wisdom that bursts through you, with you, and as you. And as you trust yourself to be your own teacher, you notice that there is a natural healing. Because when we awaken, that we truly heal. And when we are healing, we are often asleep. But when we come forward, when we open our eyes, when we can look at our own journey with the gift of knowing that every single thing we did brought us to this moment now, when we can embody and accept the sacred sequence of incarnation and call in that healing through the depth of our own being, it was then that we have arrived into the essence of the mentor, the living divine mastery presence. What does that mean? The living divine mastery presence. What does that mean, Kira? Well, what it means is that you have gifted yourself to evolve, to emerge, to arrive into the essence of the yoga of self ascension. And to remember that the yoga of self ascension is as unique as you are. It is beyond the isms that would limit. It is beyond the dogma that would tell you you need to be rescued, that would tell you that you are a victim, and that would provide you with the abuser so that that cycle would continue. The yoga of self ascension is a living gift, a living essence, and it's 4 very easy steps. And the first step is unconditional love. I want you to really breathe that in. Wow. Unconditional love. Now, I know if you own a dog, you know what unconditional love is. And they're often, I recently just had a brand new dog enter my life. And all I can share is that, that unconditional love that radiates, that pure love, that unconditional love that's based on the trust that the universe has your back. And these steps are in no particular order, but I encourage you to really call that in, to really have that unconditional love that begins with self, to have mercy on yourself, to remember that you're doing the best you can given your consciousness at any given time. And from that unconditional love, it's about releasing judgment. That's the second step. And again, they're in no particular order. Because what does it mean to release judgment? It means to let go and love yourself more. It means to let go of judging others. Because as long as you're judging yourself, you're not ever going to be able to truly love another. To step outside of the realm of judgment, which does not alleviate ramifications, but to step outside the realm of judgment, the way I like to describe it is come join me up here at 7,500 feet and gaze at the world from that space. See it all from the perspective that brings the inner smile. Because when we release judgment, we're able to exhale or surrender, to stop cutting deals with God and to release and receive, to just surrender into the gift of our lives. And that's the third step. And when we surrender into the gift of our lives and we stop trying to cut deals with God, we discover union, true union, the sacred union of the soul with this body of form that will illuminate you, that will carry this body of form easily through 120 years. If you've watched me over the past 22 years on YouTube, you have watched me reverse age, reform my body, regrow my hair, all because my body is in sacred union with the essence of my soul. Let's go back to those perennial philosophies. Remember, we did a show on that. Go look at it again. What is the essence at the end of the day of the perennial philosophies as called forward by Spinoza and Huxley? To remember the truth of who we are while we are still in this body of form. You don't have to die to descend. You do not have to die to ascend. And you are not a victim. You do not need an abuser or a rescuer. You are a teacher. You are a mentor. You are a healer. And your life is the gift. And I am honored to share it with you. Come visit me here at 12hummingbirdsretreat.com in Ecuador. And make sure you go check out iamkara.net and get that forgiveness practice. Do it. And then let me know. Give me a comment. How'd it work for you? I love you. I am honored to be with you. And blessings. And so it is.